Stop everything. This is not a drill. This is not a simulation. This is not another hype video about a 1% move in the markets. I need you to stop what you're doing, put down your coffee, lock the door, and listen to every single word I'm about to say. Because while the Western world was sleeping, while New York was closed, and while the mainstream media was distracted by political theater in Washington, the impossible just happened. We have just witnessed a financial event so significant, so earth-shattering, and so historically profound that it marks the end of one era and the violent birth of another. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Veiled Wealth. For the last 10 years, we have lived in the era of the everything bubble. We have lived in a world where money was free, where debt didn't matter, and where the path to riches was to buy digital lottery tickets called tech stocks. We were told that data is the new oil. We were told that AI is the new God. We were told that tangible physical assets, things you can touch, hold, and weigh, were dead relics of the past. But in the early hours of the Asian trading session on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, the narrative didn't just crack. It shattered into a million pieces. Silver just became the second biggest asset in the world. I want you to let that sentence sink into your bones. I'm not talking about a mining company. I'm not talking about a crypto token. I'm talking about the physical metal itself, the element argentum, number 47 on the periodic table. For a brief, shining moment that terrified the central bankers in Brussels and the hedge fund managers in Greenwich, Connecticut, the total global market capitalization of silver surged past the market capitalization of Nvidia. We are talking about a number that is almost impossible for the human brain to comprehend. We are talking about $4.65 trillion. Think about what Nvidia represents. It is the poster child of the artificial intelligence revolution. It is the company that powers the future. It is the darling of Wall Street, the stock that every pension fund owns. And yet, a metal that has been suppressed, manipulated, mocked, and forgotten for 50 years just ran it over like a freight train. The pet rock just crushed the AI god. This flipping of Nvidia is the signal we have been waiting for. It is the psychological trigger for what we here at Veiled Wealth call the Great Rotation. You have to understand how institutional money moves. It operates like a herd of buffalo. For the last 15 years, the herd has been running in one direction, into the Wall Street casino. But trees do not grow to the sky, and bubbles do not expand forever. We are now witnessing the reversal of that flow. The herd has turned. Capital is rotating out of the overvalued, debt-soaked, hype-driven tech sector, and it is flooding into the undervalued, scarce, essential resource sector. And here is the physics problem that creates the explosion. The stock market is massive. It is an ocean of liquidity. The silver market is tiny. It is a bathtub. When you try to pour the ocean into the bathtub, you don't just fill it up. You blow the walls out. This flood of money, trillions of dollars fleeing Nvidia, fleeing Apple, fleeing the treasury market, is trying to squeeze into a market that is physically limited by geology. It creates explosive pressure. It creates vertical price moves that defy technical analysis. Despite this historic achievement, despite silver becoming the second most valuable asset class on Earth alongside gold, the price per ounce is still ridiculously low. You look at your screen today and you see the price hovering around $80. And I know what some of you are thinking. Wow, $80, that is expensive. I missed the boat. You are wrong. You are fundamentally, mathematically wrong. Let's do the math together. In 1980, silver hit $50. If you adjust that for real inflation, using the methodology from Shadow Stats, not the broken CPI, the 1980 peak is equivalent to over $400 an ounce today. So at $80, we are not at a new high. We are trading at less than 50% of the previous high. We are literally trading at a discount. Silver is the only asset on the face of the earth that is currently cheaper than it was 46 years ago. This rotation is driven by fear. It is driven by the realization that Nvidia at $4 trillion is priced for perfection in a world that is falling apart. But silver is the engine of the modern world. You cannot have AI without silver. You cannot have green energy without silver. You cannot have a modern military without silver. So, while Nvidia is a bet on a software future, silver is a bet on survival. And in 2026, survival is the only trade that matters. Think about your stocks. What do you actually own? You own a digital entry in a database. If the power grid goes down, or if the geopolitical order fractures, your wealth vanishes. It turns into pixels that you cannot access. Now, contrast that with silver. When you hold a physical ounce, you have zero counterparty risk. It is an atomic reality. It has been wealth for 5,000 years. But here's the scary part. When the smart money tries to secure this physical metal, they are realizing the casino is empty. We need to talk about the January anomaly at the COMEX. January is supposed to be a quiet, non-delivery month. But this year, it is a war zone. We have just seen 4,697 contracts stand for physical delivery in just the first 3 days. That is 23.85 million ounces drained from the available float in 72 hours. This is a run on the bank. The whales, the sovereign wealth funds, and the industrial giants are breaking protocol. They are demanding their metal right now because they no longer trust the banks to hold it until March. JP Morgan is being squeezed. They are being forced to issue delivery notices, raiding their own strategic stockpiles to satisfy this voracious demand. This creates a terrifying setup for the March delivery cycle. The banks have sold paper promises for March, assuming they would have time to restock. But the January whales stole their inventory. This is the definition of a short squeeze. It isn't just about price, it is about logistics. It is about the physical inability to move enough bars of silver into New York City to satisfy the contracts. If the COMEX defaults, if they are forced to tell a contract holder, sorry, no metal, here's a check instead, the game is over. The price decouples instantly. Paper goes to zero. Physical goes to infinity. Silver has flipped Nvidia. This is not just a trivia fact. It is the defining signal of our time. Nvidia represents the past decade, a decade of easy money and digital illusions. Silver represents the coming decade, a decade of scarcity, physical reality, and hard assets. We are looking at a target of $200 just to get back to fair value. But do not wait for the price to hit $100 to realize you were right. By the time silver crosses the triple-digit barrier, the unobtainium phase will be in full effect. You will have the money, but you won't be able to find the metal. $80 is a gift. It is a 50% discount coupon that the market is handing you right before the store closes. Do not throw it away. Get out of the system. Get out of the paper. Get into the real thing. Secure your future now while you still can. This is veiled wealth. Stay hidden. Stay wealthy.